Hi, I'm Doug Doherty with Hamilton Flourishing, and we're so glad you joined us today for a conversation with Dr. Eleanor Woods. Dr. Woods is running for mayor in the city of Chattanooga, and she's a longtime resident. And the election is March 2nd, and we want to encourage you to vote. You can register to vote if you haven't registered to vote up until February the 2nd, which is, I think, next Tuesday. And early voting will begin February the 10th and end on February the 25th. The election is Tuesday, March 2nd. If there's a runoff, that'll be sometime in April. They haven't announced that date last time I talked to them. Um, and I wanted to tell you that if you'll go to the hamiltonflourishing.org website, we have all the people who are running for office, all 36 of them. We have their pictures, we have their websites, their Facebook pages, and we're also appending them with these interviews that we're doing so you can get to know the people. We just want to serve the community of Chattanooga, the voters, so they can get the best candidate they believe in. So, Dr. Woods, welcome. You look great.
Hello, hi there.
Thank you for making some time on a busy day for us. Um, Tell us a little bit about yourself. For those who don't know you, where are you born?
I am a Chattanooga native and I was born and raised up on the West Side Projects and College Hill Courts. And so growing up in Chattanooga as a poor child, I've learned a whole lot. I went to public schools that graduated from Chattanooga High School, started at James A. Henry Elementary, and then busing occurred. So I was part of that transition of busing from the west side to the north side and from the north side back to the west side for some kids. And so I left here at the age of 17, went off to college at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Go Big Orange, and I was able to receive my bachelor's degree there in biology and biochemistry. And after receiving my bachelor's degree there, I pursued my educational desires to be a dentist, and I was accepted in the University of Tennessee in Memphis, where I received my doctoral degree in dental surgery. And now 31 years later, I am still a business owner, started my own business from the ground up with nothing, as you all know. And 31 years later, God has blessed me tremendously. And during this time that I've practiced, I've done quite a bit of things for the community from a philanthropic position. And so we'll talk more about that. But I have three lovely grown children. I was married, but raised my children as a single mom after going through a divorce. And they are now 28. And I have twins that are 22.
Hmm.
And so they're very wonderful children. And I just received my blessing, my next blessing, which is a brand new baby girl. She is 3 months old. Her name is Nairobi. My children, Megan, Autumn, and William. And we are truly, truly blessed as a wonderful family unit. And I love my children. And I've done a whole lot for other children in the community because I love children so much. And so talk about that.
So you know about living from the inside of the city, the urban part of the community, and then you have worked hard, and obviously you're a smart lady, and you got an advanced degree, and you came back and not only, and this it really intrigues me, you not only became a dentist yourself and practiced that, but you started a business. Didn't you start a dental school?
Yes, I wanted to do more for my community and know that when I finished dental school, I knew I wanted to come back to Chattanooga and make a difference in my hometown. You know, coming from poverty to prosperity, you learn a whole lot. And some of the tools and some of the things that I learned along the way, I wanted to share that. So I started the EW Professional Career Training Center. And for 20 years, I moved people from welfare to work. And we're talking about African Americans, Caucasian women, and the Latino community. And I've had some Asian students to come through as well. So some of my students I encouraged to go on to dental school. So I've been able to influence positively women from all diverse backgrounds and help them move from poverty to prosperity, helping them to understand how to move through barriers in life that create situations where you feel like you can't move on. So we part of my training involved those type of life survival skill lessons. In addition to that, because there's so many children and adults that did not have access to care for whatever reason in dentistry, I also started a foundation, the Dental Angel Fund Foundation. And the purpose of that was to make sure that no matter where you are in life, that if you had a dental infection, that if money was a barrier to getting that tooth out, we made a way. So for more than 8 to 10 years now, we've given away more than $800,000 worth of free dental care to the indigent population, because we learned that children die from dental infections, adults die from dental infections. And so my goal was to make sure, especially in my community where I could have the most influence, that through the Dental Angel Fund, you wouldn't have to suffer and children would not have to suffer. So we've done a great job. We partner with different agencies to get people to come out. I know Blood Assurance is one. When they were low in blood supply, I would tell the adults, I tell you what, we'll do a whole lot more for you if you would come and give a pint of blood and help somebody else out that needs something, and then we'll give you something that you need. So I partnered with the Blood Assurance, and they would give a pint of blood, and then we take out a few teeth for them, at another day. But us helping them and them helping someone else. So I've done that. And I'm also the executive director of Alton Park Development Corporation, which for more than 20 years I've been involved with. The Alton Park Development Corporation did a whole lot with environmental disasters in the Alton Park community. And so through Alton Park Development Corporation, we've cleaned up the streams, the ground. We've did a lot of brownfield projects. And also we were part of the Hope 6 project. We were the third leg that partnered with the county and the city to ensure that Alton Park would get the help from the government. I think it was $32 million. And then Chattanooga kind of partnered and came up with the other 32 million. So it was more like a $64 million project. And with that, the development of the housing project, Spencer McCauley, was torn down, and we have the villages. And then we also did some business improvements out there. Bears Barber, Abdullah Store, and some others were able to get a little bit of that funding to help upgrade their facilities. We built a few extra homes on Carl White Street, one area, but there's still a whole lot more that we need to do. So we've had summer camps. I was able to acquire the old Pineywood Elementary School building through a bidding process with the school board, and we now own the 40,000 square foot facility with 8 acres of land. Through other partnerships, we were able to clean up the playground and put new equipment, over $200,000 project there. We have a computer laboratory inside the facility that's free for the community to come for homework or whatever they needed for the use of our computers. And the computers were given to us by EPB through our partnership. We have partnership with Blue Cross and Blue Shield, with other things, with the health aspect of it, with the playground, just an enormous pouring out of help from agencies like that. We still can do a whole lot more for the community. I've founded the radio station, the educational radio station, WPTP, which is a inspirational jazz and educational radio station that empowers and engages the community and gets information out through the community. We are global, which means you can go on the website and get us anywhere in the world. And here in Chattanooga, you can just tune in to 100.7 FM. So I've been able to accomplish a lot. God has given me the ability to do that, but I want to do even more. Being a philanthropic person from a personal level, not from a major foundation, puts you where you've had a lot of investment in your community and you love your community. I love my community. And not just for the poor folk. I mean, I've done a lot of things for middle class people. So I don't want people to think, oh, she's just for the poor people or she's just for African Americans. I am the most diverse candidate in this whole race that have done the most for this community from my pocket, not from other people's money. And I have stake in this community from the aspect of putting in and not getting out. And that's good because some people always put in to get something out. I'm just a native Chattanooga that want to put the people first and make sure that we're being equitable. You all know that I've served as the NAACP president for 3 terms. I've taken on the sheriff department and the police department against police brutality. And most of our clients have been vindicated in the process. And so I will stand for equity and justice, not only in the criminal justice reform, but also educational. I'm a big 0 to 5 educational advocate because we know that 86% of the brain is formed in those formative years. And we can't afford to wait till kids get to 3rd grade to decide it's time for them to go to jail. We need to be working with them from 0 to 5. And in that time period, they'll be ready for kindergarten because once you are behind and you're not on task at kindergarten, then that's going to be a domino effect. So you get further behind in 2nd grade because education is a cumulative process. It's not you just pick it up in this 1st grade and then move on to the 2nd. The foundation is most critical. And so we've got to start with 0 to 5. That means putting way more money into 0 to 5 and recruiting the best teachers and giving those who are working extremely hard now an increase in raises or money so that they can do all the things that they need to do, and also the resources that they need to have a educational program that will be of good to all children, no matter where they come from. So that is my major focus, is in educational for 0 to 5. And then this homelessness, I'm just, really, really just baffled at how this city over the past even 20 to 30 years have not been able to get their arms around the homelessness. And I believe that it's because we have not been intentional. Whenever Chattanooga is intentional and we dream and we unite around a cause or a problem, we're successful. And so we have not united. We have not been intentional about getting rid of homelessness. And one of the things that if I'm elected as mayor that we're going to do is to provide a compound where these individuals can live and be treated. As a dentist, as a doctor, I know that you can't keep giving a person antibiotics because the infection is going to come back. So you've got to get to the root of the problem. And I believe that the root of the problem in the situation with the homelessness, some of it is mental, and some of it is maybe alcohol or drug addiction. Some of it just may be a total loss of direction. And so we need to bring those individuals into the compound, have them diagnosed. If it's drug and alcohol addiction, then we need to treat that. If it's mental, we need to treat that. So as long as they're in the compound, they will have a psychologist to diagnose them, doctors, nurses to take care of them if they need medicine. Some of them are paranoid schizophrenic. Some of them have bipolarism. All of these things that we're just giving them food and water and clothing and letting them stay in a tent. That's treating them with antibiotics. We need to get to the root of the problem and diagnose them and get rid of the problem. And so that's what I will do. So in this compound, you'll have those different elements available. And the homes that they'll be living in will be something like a dormitory where they'll have a bed, a shower, maybe a place to plug a refrigerator, not a refrigerator, a television or something like that. But they'll come downstairs to the cafeteria to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they'll be treated in this place. So that once they're well and we feel that they are able to return back to society functioning, then they can leave the compound. But once they're in the compound, they're treated. If they have mental illnesses, then we're going to apply for disability and get them the resources that they need, so that they can take care of themselves. And that would take care of any of the funding that's needed, some of it. I've got a project that I am going to use, the Delaney project. I'm going to pattern this program after. It is amazing. And that's sort of what it's similar to. It's bringing them in off the street. We're going to fingerprint them so we'll know who they are and where they are. If they're criminals and they're wanted, because I can tell you some of them are hiding amongst the homeless people here in Chattanooga. They're wanted in other parts, then we'll expedite them back to where they need to be. But we don't need to have homeless people on the streets and we're walking past them every day and giving them antibiotics. We're going to get them housing. And then with the affordable housing situation, the crisis that we have there, we have a lot of lots and vacant homes throughout the marginalized communities. If those houses can be repaired without an exorbitant amount of money utilized to do it, where the house is less valuable than the cost to fix it up, then we need to board those empty houses up, because they are luring in criminals that live in those houses and criminal activities going on. And we need to replace those houses with what I call prefabricated homes and put them on the foundation. That way you don't have to worry about builders and contractors coming in taking 6 months to a year to build those houses. You just roll them in, put them on a foundation, and the folk that live in that community that are paying rent, we can put them on a rent to own, because most people want to own a house. Some of them don't, but most people want, that's a dream for most Americans, is to own their own house and have financial freedom. So once we put them in the house with rent to own option, after 2 years, working with them with their credit, because that's usually a big problem, and keeping them consistent on a job, then banks can finance them the home, and it can convert from a rental piece of property or lease to a mortgage note. So we can get rid of the housing crisis with bringing affordable homes and houses through these marginalized communities that people can rent to own. So that is one big issue.
Well, you're doing great, and you've answered almost every question that I had written down here. Let me tell everybody we're talking to Dr. Eleanor Woods, who's running for mayor of Chattanooga. And Dr. Woods, if people want to get in touch with you or your campaign, is there a website or a phone
Yes.
number or an email that they could use?
Yes, so you can contact us by going to our website at DOC Woods, WOODS.org. And from there, there's a place for you to email us and contact us. There's also a place to go follow us on our Instagram and also our Facebook page. We have lots of information on there about me as a candidate and things that we are doing on the trail. One thing I do want to tell all the people in Chattanooga is that I will be the mayor for all people. And so with that being said, I want people to understand that we cannot afford to allow the establishment, which I'm not against the establishment per se, but we cannot allow them to keep buying the election. You know, some of the folk that are running in this race have already raised over $1 million. You know what we could do with $1 million in this city? So I want people to look at each candidate, study their background, and choose the right person based on what you feel they will do for this city, what's best for this city. And I've been poor, I've been middle class, and also upper class. So I understand the needs of every individual in this city, no matter what level you are, or no matter where you come from. And so I want people to understand that 100%.
One of the chief jobs of the mayor is to be the city's top salesman. He has to be the guy who goes out and work with the chamber and whatnot, but he's still got to go pitching Chattanooga to businesses like Volkswagen and those kind of places. What's your what do you think about the role of of creating jobs, developing jobs, recruiting businesses to Chattanooga to employ people, workforce development, that whole area of
Yes.
job?
It is crucial that the person who gets this position has a true understanding about employment and job opportunities and job development and business growth for this city. If you've never ran a business, if you've never did a payroll, if you've never had to go out and recruit, retain employment, or even go out and advertise for your business and bring money to your business, then it's going to be a tough road. I've not only worked as a sole proprietor in my business, as a business owner for 31 years, I've also worked in corporate. So I understand the role of the mayor from a managerial perspective and from the perspective of bringing in revenues to our city so that our city can function. And I also know how to work when things get tough. As a sole proprietor, you're the person that brings the money in. I'm a dentist, as you all know. And if I don't go to work, and if I don't figure out how to bring patients in and bring in revenue, then it's going to be bad for business. So I've had to be in those difficult, tough times. For example, with coronavirus, that was one of the worst times in history for America. And we had to figure out how we were going to survive through the pandemic. Many people lost their businesses, but I've been 31 years, having 31 years of experience of running a business. I knew exactly what to do. I knew how to cut here, cut there, add here, take away from there, stop a lot of spending, all those budget decisions that you have to make during a crisis. You better be prepared to do that. And if you've never been confronted with that, then you should not be in the race because it gets tough sometimes. You got to make tough decisions. You got to go out and form relationships outside of your circle. That means developing relationships with other towns, with other states, even globally outside the United States. You've got to be able to collaborate and also communicate. I tell people all the time, I have a lot of degrees. Went to college, earned a lot of accolades along the way. I'm in the top 2% of the dentists in the world. I am a Pierre Fouchard Fellow, an honor that is bestowed to only 2% of the dentists in the world. And what that means is it takes good work ethics. And the most important thing that I was able to accomplish in college, getting back to what I was about to say, it wasn't the science, it wasn't the math, it wasn't passing the test. It was learning how to communicate with people from diverse backgrounds. In other words, if you cannot communicate effectively with all people, that is the first thing you have to master if you want to be in leadership role. So I'm very intentional in my business and have been for 31 years to making sure that I have a diverse group of people working for me because there are different people that come into my doors and they communicate differently and they need to feel comfortable when they come into my office. The same thing with the mayor's office and the mayor's position. If you're not comfortable in your skin and know how to deal with people of diverse backgrounds, you're going to fail miserably. That's why I can talk to you. I can talk to the poorest man. I can talk to the richest man. I can talk to the Hispanic, the Asian, the white male, the white female, the black male, the black female, and feel comfortable in my skin and make you feel comfortable in your skin because I understand you. So that's what education means to me.
Mm.
It means being able to communicate. And if you can communicate, you can bring in revenues. Your personality is a must. If people don't like you because you can't communicate, you're going to fail miserably. And so those are skills that God gave me. The ability to communicate effectively and the personality I was born with. So I feel of all the candidates that are in this race, and no slight to anybody in a negative way, I just know in my walk of life and where I've been and the people that I've met and the ability to communicate with the people that I've been able to communicate with, I'm the best candidate. And
Yeah.
so get the job done.
Couple more questions, then we're just out of town. Talk about neighborhood safety. This is both a policing question, but it's larger than just policing. It's also street lights, sidewalks, parks, community centers, people feeling safe coming out on the front porch.
Mhm.
The shootings, the drive-by shootings, what we can do. This whole idea of neighborhood safety. Do you have an idea or some thoughts about that?
Oh, yeah. Well, the first thing that I've said on the trail is that marginalized communities, not just marginalized communities, there are some great neighborhoods that are experiencing the same thing. So it's not just because you live in a hood, you feel unsafe. You could be living on Signal Mountain and feel unsafe. So the thing that we have to do is look at the neighborhood associations, and I'm creating a board of representatives from each neighborhood. And their job is to be a liaison between the residents in their community and the mayor to discuss what we have to do in their communities to make them safer. If it's sidewalks, if it's lighting in a particular part that's too dark, as on Missionary Ridge, if it's their cable barriers, their pavement, whatever those things may be, get it done. We have to invest in community safety. And we also have to look at how these communities are being policed. I've got, my son is 22 years old, and he was stopped last week and given a speeding ticket. And the officer asked him, because I tell my children, whenever you're stopped and pulled over because of all the situations across America, police brutality, the first thing you do when you see those blue lights, you call me and you put me on FaceTime and you set that phone there where I can hear everything. So the police officer asked him, did he steal the car? Now, why did he ask him, did he steal the car? You see? And and then another very close friend, like my godson, was pulled over in the West Side Project. He was taking his brother home. He purchased a car with the tinted windows. The officer came over to him and said, I'm giving you a ticket because your windows are tinted, too dark. Didn't have the device to check the tint and gave him a ticket. Now he has a licensed gun permit, and he has his gun in his car, okay? And he lets the officer know, I have a gun in my car, but it's registered to me and it's clean. And the officer then searches the car, takes the gun, and then throws him in jail. Never been in jail before, a good child, never had any problems. He was scared to death. They called 4 to 6 cops around him and treated him like a criminal. This just happened 2 nights ago. So the other thing we have to do is get better police officers, better training, and if that starts with the head, because usually the head is the individual that sets precedent for what happens with those who are under their authority. In my office, if I'm sorry, my staff's gonna be sorry. If I have a negative attitude, then my staff's gonna have a negative attitude. If I'm a very good boss, I treat my employees, treat them right, have a good spirit with my patients, then they're gonna follow suit and do the same thing. So we may have to look at replacing our police chief. We're gonna get rid of some bad cops. We may have to look at increasing their pay so that we can recruit better officers. I know we're gonna have to increase more African Americans, not minorities, African American police officers. I'm intentional with that because the majority of the problems are coming from African American communities, and they need to see African American police officers in their community and respect, because there's a loss of respect of of white officers in Black communities because of the history there and the way that they're being treated. And so we've got to start this thing right if we're going to get it right with policing in the in African American marginalized communities. It's 37%, I believe, African Americans. We need to see something that resembles the demographics in our community on the police force. So that's something we're going to have to be intentional about. That means going outside the city of Chattanooga to recruit officers, going to historical Black colleges and universities and bringing them here. When we wanted to increase the population of folk downtown and we wanted teachers there, we gave them bonuses. We gave them all kinds of breaks so they could buy into the houses in the Main Street area. But we may have to be intentional the same way when it comes to increasing the number of African-American police officers on our force. When we wanted to have better teachers in these poor communities because nobody wanted to teach there. Good teachers didn't want to go there. We had to give them incentives such as we'll give you $10,000 to $20,000 more a year on your paycheck if you'll go to Howard or if you'll go to Brainerd. So those are some of the things that we have to be intentional about in other areas, which I said policing is one of those areas. So I'm going to be very intentional about that. I am not going to show a difference in how we treat our neighborhoods, but we have to be realistic and say that the marginalized communities have been left out for decades. So we got to catch up a little bit, right? We have to catch up. And so there may be, times or situations where we have to do a little bit more there so that we can catch them up and bring them up to par for all the years of neglect. So that's something I will be intentional about.
Okay, we're just about out of time. 2 questions if you could answer kind of quickly. So all this activity coming out of the Woods administration, do you foresee a tax increase?
We're not going to be taxing anybody. We're not going to do a tax increase. That's my middle class budget answer right there. What we're going to do is figure out where we're wasting money, because there's a ton of money being wasted with a whole lot of pork programs. We're going to have to see which ones we can get rid of. Also with the roads and things, we're going to have to look at how we can get a toll put up. We have people coming in from Georgia, when you go up north from Virginia, when you go toward Nashville from Alabama and Mississippi, that use our roads. We're right in the center of all of that. And so our roads get beat up pretty bad with 18 wheelers and just the normal everyday traffic of people coming from different states. So we're gonna have to look at putting up a toll, which will help take care of our roads and our community and our highways. And also, I believe some of the funds could be used for other things on the inside of the city that we can use. So getting rid of wasteful spending and also taking down the size of our mayor's office, because people are doing the same thing, 2 and 3 people. We can also reduce the number of workers at the executive level. So we can downsize that. I believe that we need efficient government, but we don't need too big of a government where we're spending too much money.
I believe you could do this all by yourself, Dr. Woods.
So we're going to get rid of spending, Doug.
Let me ask you one question. You have mentioned being blessed many times, and I meant to ask this at the opening thing. Where do you go to church?
I'm a member of Greater Emmanuel Apostolic Church, where the Paul Warfield Jr. is the pastor. And we are a phenomenal group of church praying, foot stomping Christians who believe in prayer and the power of God through prayer. And so I am blessed to be there. And I've been in the church since I was 9. I was saved at 9, but been in the church since I was born. If you know anything about poor folk, you will know that our salvation and saving grace comes through God. You're not gonna miss church on Sunday morning. If your mama can't get you there, somebody will pick you up and make sure that you get there with your children. So church and a strong belief in Jesus Christ is something that I was blessed to have a mom, even though we were poor, but she believed in the church. I've sung in the choir. I've been teachers in the church, very active with women ministry. I am a saved person. And that's the other thing we need. We need to bring back the moral fiber and consciousness in this community by putting a saved person in that mayor's seat. And I am the one. I am the one.
Well, Dr. Woods, thank you. I just want to tell our listeners, our viewers, that Dr. Woods can be reached at docwoods.org, DOCWOODS.org. Is that right?
That is correct.
And you can reach her there. And also, if you'll go to our website, hamiltonflourishing.org, you can see a picture of everybody. There's 16 people running for mayor and 36 candidates altogether. You can find out their websites, their Facebook pages, how to get in touch with them. You can also find out what district you're in if you're in a council race or interested in what district you're in. So you can do a lot there. We want to be a one-stop shop, and we've done some interesting questioning of the community, and you can kind of see how the community thinks about different issues. So we invite you to hamiltonflourishing.org. And Dr. Woods, I want to tell you, it's just a real honor to talk to you. You're a woman of significant accomplishment, and you've done well by not just the community, but by the whole city. So we thank you.
Thank you.
And wish you well. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. All right. Have a blessed